everything is working, but I think everything looks fine so far. So let's start for today. Let me make sure that everything is properly working. Yeah. Hi and welcome back. I had so much fun hanging out with you guys last Friday. We had a really good conversation, in my opinion, about accessibility, and I learned a few things again. I learned a few things from the conversation we had on Friday, and I think this is the reason why I wanted to make another live stream today. Maybe not as long. Last Friday, I think it was 4 or 5 hours. It was pretty long. I am an early bird. It's 5 p.m. here in Germany at the moment, and last time we streamed, I think, nearly until midnight, and I needed to leave my bed, stand up at 6 a.m. So today, it's maybe not as long as on Friday. So today I did a little bit of researching because I had a crazy and lovely idea for a video I will film in November. I'm flying from Berlin to Orlando this time. Never been to Berlin airport. To Berlin I was really often because the city and the history of the city is fascinating. And a couple of years ago, Berlin was a nice city. I was really considering moving there and working there, but nowadays I am not interested in going to Berlin. But flying from Berlin was the cheapest option to go to Orlando in November, and in March I will also fly from Berlin. Next year, September, I think I will go again from Hamburg because it's much easier. Because when I'm going flying from Berlin, I need to book a hotel reservation the night before, and I need to go on train for 3 hours until I am in Berlin. And normally when I'm flying from Hamburg, I can catch just the airport shuttle bus here for my hometown, and I am in Hamburg in 1.5 hours. So no matter on which time I'm flying, most of the time, always I can choose the bus and never had a problem, never missed a flight. And yeah, but I wanted to save, I think it saved me $300 to go from Berlin. And now I'm like, I didn't save a cent at all. Because my train tickets, I choose first class because otherwise you won't have a place to sit down in the worst case in our train companies. So I think 70 euros or stuff like that was the train ticket. Okay, my hotel was technically free because I used my Lufthansa miles to book the hotel, but normally it would also had cost me, I think I am in the airport hotel, $200 a night. So yeah, then I need to eat something in the day before the flight. So definitely it was not worth the money to go from Berlin. I should just have paid to go from Hamburg and then to Frankfurt, or maybe start in Frankfurt like I did the last time. And yeah, it was not the smartest idea to go from Berlin to Orlando, and I'm doing it twice, in November and in March again. But I could always try to call Lufthansa and say, hey, can we change the flights? But I don't think it's worth it because most of the time it's ridiculously expensive to change the destinations of the flights. So I am stuck with Berlin, and I have, as I said, a crazy idea. I really want to make a video, a vlog entry out. Of course, I will film pre-travel day, travel day, and then every day in Orlando. And then I have a lot of video ideas of stuff that I will film accessibility-wise, especially IAPA and stuff like that. But Hard Rock Cafe in Orlando has a piece of the Berlin Wall. And I mean, the first thing I thought about was like, how did this piece of the wall arrive in Orlando? Was it put in a plane? It's pretty heavy. It would take up a lot of space. I think more interesting and more, I think, more realistic. This thing was shipped there with a container or stuff like that. But I wanted to figure out from exactly where this piece of Berlin Wall in Orlando was from Berlin. And yeah, I reached out to the Hard Rock Cafe in Orlando, didn't have an answer yet, but maybe they will never answer because they get requests a lot, and maybe it's up to me to do my own research. I guess I've heard too much if, in my opinion, for me as a journalist, but I think this piece of the wall was from the Pink Floyd concert back in the days. And this is narrowing the space from which this part of the Berlin Wall could have been from, that is now in Orlando. Because he played in front of the Brandenburger Tor. Between Brandenburger Tor and the Reichstag was the Berlin Wall. And so the space is narrowed down for me now for, I think, 100 meters or stuff like that. And I think I would be fine just to be in the general area, because the Berlin Wall was pretty huge, and be in the range of 100 meters to tell the story of the piece of the Berlin Wall that is now in Orlando is enough, in my opinion. I don't know if it's still true. In the worst case, there was an app where you can see where the Berlin Wall was running through the city. But my last visit to Berlin, and I think I remembered it correctly, they had red cobblestones all the way where the Berlin Wall was located. And so I think this is also something that would narrow down where this piece of wall in Orlando is coming from in Berlin. And I think this is an interesting story to tell. And I definitely know, especially in front of the Reichstag, they have those black crosses. This was the death zone from the DDR. And this is definitely there. And I think from there you can now, even if it's not located there anymore with cobblestones, you know where the Berlin was and was stood. So I think the general area from the piece of Berlin Wall in Orlando, I am definitely able to figure it out where it was. But then we have a few other problems, because I am traveling with our German train system. If everything is working out all right, I'm leaving my hometown at noon and should be in Berlin at the airport at 4 p.m. But looking at my schedule, there is just no way of doing it. It is so funny because I didn't even reserve a seat. First of all, when you're traveling first class, most of the time you will never have an issue finding a place. Beside when there is a soccer team playing in the other city, and the train assistant is not taking care of anything. He just wants to survive, and all of the soccer fans are in the first class without belonging there. Then you have maybe an issue finding a place to sit down. But they are just ridiculous. I am taking the high-speed train from Kiel to Hamburg, and it should be on time. Maybe. Normally, you can make your connection in Hamburg in Dammtor. It's a small train station where you never need to switch the platform. This was something I was hoping for, just switching there. Go out of the train, wait for 4 or 5 minutes and catch the next one. But the problem is that my train that is going to Berlin is actually going to Prague, I think. And it's not stopping at Dammtor. It's only stopping in Altona. And there was just no way for me to go out in Altona. If I would have a ticket just for the normal version of trains here in Germany, I just take and train earlier. I would definitely did so, and then I would go to Altona, but this is not a possibility because I need to catch the high-speed train because my ticket is only available for this high-speed train. Even only if I miss the next train, the connection is gone and I can choose whatever train I want. This is, I think, going to happen because they I told them, hey, I am not the fastest. I need time for my connection train. Give me time for the connection in Hamburg because I have a disability. I have 2 suitcases. I need my time. And most of the time in Hamburg, the lifts are broken. So you need to use the escalators. And when the train is full, everyone is fighting for the freaking escalators. So they gave me 7 minutes to change trains. And I think I needed to pass 8 platforms. And I'm like, yeah, okay, crossing the whole station, no worries. This is definitely going to happen, definitely going to work. And never ever is a train delayed here in Germany. So I don't think that I will catch actually my train to Berlin, the one that is on my ticket. But the good thing is, I think from Hamburg, every half an hour or at least once an hour, there was a direct train to Berlin. So if I miss this train, I don't care. And the connection train from Berlin Central Station to the airport, I can use whatever train is going there. There is not it's not connected to my ticket like the high-speed train. So I am thinking about, if I'm already missing my original connection, just going out at the Central Station in Berlin, and because it's not that far. The Reichstag and Brandenburger Tor is, I think, 10 minutes walking distance from the Central Station. Maybe I just use the lockers, put everything inside there and go. Then I had the other idea, go to the airport, pay for a day ticket, go back, and because I am still missing my Hard Rock Berlin pin, and then go back to the Hard Rock in Berlin. I am looking at it. Maybe if there is a Hard Rock location in the Berlin airport, I will just buy my pin there because this would be so much easier. But otherwise, I think I really want to buy this pin because after what had happened to me in Oslo, I really wanted to have the Oslo pin. And the second to last time I was there, I didn't have so much time. My energy was nearly gone, and I was like, I am in Oslo quite often, so why bother now leaving my train, running to the Hard Rock and go to the airport? There was just no way. Why should I do so? And then there was a problem. The next time I went to Oslo, I was excited. I didn't know exactly where the location was, and I was standing in front of the building, and it told me that the Hard Rock Cafe in Oslo closed 1 week before my trip. And I was like, great. I know that the Hard Rock in Orlando, I talked to them. They are looking for an Oslo pin for me, so I can trade them when I'm coming to Orlando next time, but it's a shame. And the funny thing is, the exact same thing happened to me with the Planet Hollywood in Duisburg here in Germany. I think we were on the 2nd of January in Duisburg because there was it a Harry Potter exhibition? I don't know, some kind of exhibition. We went there in Köln or Wuppertal, I don't know, somewhere there in this area. So we stayed in Duisburg, and 2nd of January, and we standing in front of the Planet Hollywood, and they told us, we are closed at Sylvester, so at the end of the year. And we are like, 2 days late. So again, I don't own my Planet Hollywood Duisburg pin. And again, this is the second time that happened to me with the Hard Rock in Oslo, and I'm like, now every time I'm nearby a Hard Rock cafe, I am not doubting it. I'm just going. Every city I'm going to, I am looking up the Hard Rock cafe pin and the Hard Rock cafe location and buy the pin, because I don't want to miss out again the chance of a Hard Rock pin just because the Hard Rock is closing a day before I'm arriving the next time. Because okay, Hard Rock and Planet Hollywood are two different things, but it happens twice now, and I'm like, no. So I only have one the Hard Rock pins from Tokyo. I'm really wanting all of them. The same is going. I don't have the pin from Hard Rock Osaka. I don't know if there was a Hard Rock Osaka, to be honest, but I think so. And yeah, my Dubai pin is precious, but I think they are here. I can just show them to you. Those are my Hard Rock pins, and where was my favorite? This one. I will get it so you can have a closer look. I love it because you can see the ski jumping. The ski jumper. It's from Innsbruck. It's one of the locations from the Four Hills tournament, and I think this is at least my most beautiful Hard Rock pin. That I love this one as well. This is from Oslo from my last from Orlando for my last trip. I just find this flamingo so ridiculously funny and cool. It's nice. It's cool. I also love this one. It's from my local Hard Rock cafe. It's from our zoo with this small little penguin. I think this was a limited edition one, but I didn't care. I just wanted it because there was a penguin. My Paris one is also pretty precious because I got this pin the year before Notre Dame was burning down. So I think, I don't know if they still have Notre Dame pins at Hard Rock Paris, but I really love it. And okay, Amsterdam still have my, yeah, this one is also a pretty nice one. My Dubai one with a camel and stuff like that. This is pretty nice, and also my sweet little one from Tokyo. I love it when they have such special limited edition ones that show something just from the city that is special to the city, like the pandas or stuff like that. I also have a lot of those normal ones because most of the time those are just the cheapest ones, and sometimes I'm just going with the cheapest version. And yeah, again, those are my pins. I don't know what I'm doing with the Disney ones. Maybe just throw them away or take them with me to Orlando and just give them away to Disney fans. I don't want them anymore. I don't need them anymore. So if someone is interested, maybe I'm just taking them with me and bringing them to the laundry and washing facility at Surfside, and someone will pick them up. And this is another thing we discussed during my last live stream. I didn't know that this was not common sense or common knowledge, but yeah, when you're staying at Surfside or Dockside, I can't give you the information if this is for all Universal resorts. But when you are coming, always have a look at the laundry facilities, because this is the place where people leave stuff behind that is not fitting into their suitcases anymore and that they don't want to throw away. So most of the time you can just find a few bottles of water, which is quite neat when you just arrive, or sunscreen or stuff like that, that just didn't fit in there, or snacks. I saw a lot of chips and stuff like that. And especially when you are on a budget or with a family, it's always worth just having a look if there was something you want to have. I personally don't need the water or stuff like that because I am going as soon as I checked in and just buy in my resort mug. And then I have drinks in the hotel lobby whenever I want available. I think for me, especially when I'm staying for 2 weeks, I think that I don't know exactly what I paid, $40. And it's definitely worth the money. I will, because I am crazy, I love those calculation stuffs and statistics. I will make a video of how often I actually refilled my mug and how much money I did save. I know the night when I'm staying at the Helios, this is something I am thinking of going for the resort mug at the Helios, not because I need the refill for that one night, but because if the mug is beautiful, I want the mug from the Helios Grand. And this is something I don't know if I should call it disappointment. Originally, I didn't want it to spoiler me at all with something from the Helios because it's, at least for me, normally I wouldn't stay. I am an old backpacker. I normally would never pay that much money for one night in a hotel. It's, I think, what I have theme park view. I think I paid $750 a night. It's just for me because I am not that girl that loves that kind of stuff. Too much money for a hotel. Surfside is completely fine, budget friendly, and everything I need. And maybe it's because I just can't give you the information how big a normal room at Surfside is because I only go, or always go for the accessible ones. But the rooms at Surfside, for me at least, they are feeling huge. I feel that my Surfside room is always huge. Maybe it's because the accessibility, but I looked it up and I saw that the rooms from the pictures from the Helios, they are looking really small. And I think if you are counting it per square inches, they are smaller or at least not bigger than the Surfside ones. And again, I have also requested an accessible room at the Helios, so maybe we will have a look and wander around and see what this room is like, but I don't know. From the pictures, yeah, the shower looks nice, I guess, but the room itself, yeah, the theme park view. The view is of course beautiful. This is the reason why I'm gone with the theme park view. But the room itself at the Helios, I will give you my honest opinion when I'm there. But seeing everything I am seeing at the moment online, I don't know if this price tag is, at least for me, worth the money. Then I had a look at the pool because most of the other, I like my Surfside pool, it's completely fine, it's enough. But on a budget hotel, I don't expect something big, huge, or stuff like that. And then I saw the pictures from the pool area at, for an example, from the Hard Rock Hotel or even Safira Falls or stuff like that. From the other more valuable Universal resorts. And the pools are cool, they are great, they are huge. I don't know if it's true, maybe you need to correct me. I think the Hard Rock one has even a lazy river. And then I saw the pool view, the pool from the Helios, and it's not bad. Don't get me wrong. It's a nice pool, but for this price tag and to be the flagship hotel at the moment for Universal, I don't think the pool from the Helios is enough. Then you need to consider it's a flagship hotel. It's at the moment the most expensive hotel you can get on Universal property. And you don't even have express passes like you have on the other high value hotels at Universal. When you're staying at the Hard Rock, you have the unlimited express pass for studios and islands. You don't have express passes when you're staying with the Helios, not for Epic, not even normal express passes where you can do one ride a day or stuff like that, nothing. And I'm like, why? This is not good value, It's, I don't know. I don't see my money's worth at the Helios. And then people are telling me the only really, really advantage is like that when early park admission is, you are in the park way earlier because you can go directly. You don't need to go to the entrance. You are at the Helios. You are inside the park. You have your own security and stuff like that. You are really, really fast and Epic for the early park admission. But again, this will give you maybe an advantage for one ride. You need to choose, maybe go Mario Kart. So for one ride, you may have this advantage again. In the other ones, you have the express pass, so you wouldn't need this advantage. And for me, I don't need the advantage because I have the AAP. I am not, at least for me, this is not an advantage because I am slow as a snail. I would not be fast enough to be there in Mario Kart before all the other guests from the other entrance would be there. So this is another one thing that's just not worth for me. And then you are really trapped in the Epic and Helios bubble. I think Terra Luna and Stella Nova, you have at least access. Is this Publix or Target? There was a supermarket nearby where you can walk to, and you are not that trapped into this bubble. But at the Helios, you barely have a thing. You only have Epic Universe. At the other resorts, you have City Walk and stuff like that still going on. I don't want to talk down on the Helios before I was there. Maybe I will go to the hotel and I'm like, this is the most beautiful thing and place I've ever seen. But doing my research and seeing everything at the moment, I'm like, I don't know if the Helios is for me worth the money. And seeing the rooms and stuff like that, it's like, I don't know if I am really appreciating it. I am not canceling my stay because I've already paid for it. I wouldn't get the full cancellation with my travel agency. But if I would get a full refund, I really would consider just canceling my reservation for the Helios at this point. But maybe it's surprising me. And yeah, maybe it's because I know Surfside is working for me. And yeah, again, I am not someone that loves this luxury and high-end stuff. I am more like a grounded girl, and maybe it's just not the place for me. But again, on the other side, I don't know. On the other hand, maybe I'm falling in love with the Helios and like, okay, I will save a lot of money, only go once to Universal and stay at the Helios from now on. Maybe this is something that is happening. I am not seeing it at the moment, but maybe this is something that is going to happen. And then there was another thing. I think resort hopping when you're staying in different hotels at Disney is easier than Universal. At Universal, you need basically to call an Uber. You can't use the resort buses. Maybe if you only have a backpack with you, you could, but you are not allowed to. I understand it. It's completely understandable. I understand it. It's common sense that you can't use your suitcases and take them with you in the shuttle buses. And yeah, now we have two options. It's only one night, put everything in a backpack and go to City Walk and then to the Helios, or just call an Uber. I think at this price tag of the Helios, it would be just a nice service and add-on if there was any opportunity to go directly as a guest from the Surfside to the Helios just for this one night procedure, because again, I also need to do the exact same thing on the next day when I'm checking out. And this is a little bit of annoying in my opinion. But again, I don't want to have an opinion before I was there. I maybe shouldn't have watched videos or look at the pictures, because at the moment even before I'm there, I'm little bit disappointed from the Helios. It's looking so. I booked it because I was sitting in the fountains at Epic, and this hotel just looks amazing to me, and it was so beautiful. And this is the reason why I wanted to stay. And the cast members told me I don't need to stay for that, but the cocktail bar on the top is beautiful. You have a nice view about Epic Universe, and it's opening, I think, until park closure for non-hotel guests. And yeah, they really recommended me to go there and drink a cocktail. But yeah, for me, I will not use the Epic Universe advantages with early park admission, because I think I don't want to do early park admission for Epic. I did it once during my last trip, and it was a completely nightmare because people were so crazy and insane at Epic Universe in the morning hours. I think in the lunchtime during midday, it's the worst. In the evening, Epic, it's okay, in my opinion. And I find Epic Universe so much more beautiful during nighttime. So most of the time I am going at the nighttime at Epic. And I'm really looking forward to the night from the IAPA at Epic, because only people with IAPA credentials will have access on that Thursday of the IAPA to Epic Universe between 7 p.m. and 11 p.m. So I asked Universal, hey, is my AAP working during that time? And they are like, you don't need it. Everything is a walk on. The park is empty. They provide you food and snacks and drinks. You will have a great, great time. And I'm like, this sounds so cool. And then another Universal thing, service that I was used from Disney, that is not Disney anymore. I asked them, hey, I am going to this IAPA event at Epic Universe. It's 11 p.m. Any chance you're running shuttle buses back to Surfside, because it's only for IAPA credentials? I completely understand if you don't run the shuttle buses from Epic back to Surfside and that evening. And they were like, no worries. The shuttles will leave until midnight, so 1 hour after park closure. You will be able to go back to Surfside. You don't need to call an Uber or stuff like that. We will normally shuttle, not as often as on a normal park day, but we will shuttle between Epic and Surfside. Maybe only Surfside, Dockside, one bus, not split the buses up. And I was like, I just don't care. As long as you get me back to the hotel after a night out at Epic, when there is free food and drinks, I will eat so much food. So I need the bus, because otherwise I will just roll. And I am really excited for that night out in Epic. I have an annual pass, but I already purchased a 2 weeks ticket where Epic is included, so I have access to Epic whenever I want to go. Can go in and out of the park. And even for my trip in March, I still have a 2-week free ticket with Epic included. So I will have Epic access in March as well. And maybe after March, maybe in the end of next year, they will open up Epic for annual passes. And then I don't need to think about how I have access to Epic. Because for me, a day ticket would just put too much pressure if I needed to pay for every day individual, because then I would tend to think about rope drop to fireworks, and this is not going to work with my disability anymore. So this is the reason why I choose to go with this ticket on top, just to have 2 weeks of Epic, so I can come and go whenever I want. We need to figure it out. A friend of mine, Jake from Boston, is coming with me. Of course, he has also, because he is helping me out with my documentary, the IAPA credentials. So for that evening, he is fine with Epic. And the other times, maybe I will give him one of my spare tickets, maybe a 4-day ticket. So he has at least 4 days at Epic when we are there together. And I don't know. I haven't looked up how much a day ticket it is for annual pass holders, but my plan is, at least I did it last time, going for rope drop at Islands of Adventure, fetching my AAP for Hagrid, hanging out there, then heading over when it's opening up to studios, one Bourne show, maybe Men in Black and Mummy, make a hotel break, eat something, go shopping at the outlets or stuff like that, and then heading back at the evening for Epic. This is normally my day when I'm staying at Surfside. But again, I don't know. Maybe I will go every day to the IAPA. The good thing is we could just use the Lynx bus when we want to go to IAPA. I think it's no need to go every time and pay for an Uber. I need to look up where the Lynx bus stop is at the convention center, because when it's on the other side of our entrance, because I think at least for the first day we need to use the south exit or entrance because of our credentials. And yeah, then maybe it's smarter to use an Uber than walking around the convention center, because this is an information IAPA hadn't provided to me yet. If there is maybe a wheelchair rental when my foot is just saying, no, this is not happening anymore, or if they allowed my foldable crutches inside. I know Universal does. I asked them specifically and they were like, mobility aids are always welcome. I think at IAPA they are fine as well. They will not take my crutches away. I think this is not going to happen. But the next thing is, I've never been to the Orlando Convention Center. I don't know if there are any benches. If there are no benches in the whole convention center area, I'm just screwed. Then I don't know. Maybe I will only go one day to IAPA, because then this is not going to work out for me if there is no west area and no place to sit down. But I think I will get surprised. The plan is to pick up our credentials on Monday. On Tuesday, we will stay at the Helios Grand. So I am like, no, I'm not going to the first day of IAPA, because I really want to make my money worth. When I'm paying $750 a night, I want to stay at that hotel. I don't know if I'm going maybe to Epic a few hours, but I want to stay at the Helios, look at the hotel pool, and go drinking a cocktail and stuff like that. I have theme park view, so this day is reserved just for the Helios Grand. And then the plan is checkout is, I think, at 10, going back to Surfside, put everything in our room, and head out to IAPA. And I heard from the last couple of years that the Tuesday is the worst day. So it's good that we are not there on Tuesday, because for my documentary, I'm filming for my broadcasting company, and for the thing I want to do for YouTube, I don't need to be the first one to show you the new white vehicles that maybe Mac is providing, or another company, or show you special openings or special things that are announced. I am not interested in this kind of IAPA. Yeah, I will definitely have a look, but I think there are enough content creators out there that will go with you from booth to booth and show you everything that is new. I will really focus just on the accessible things and ask the engineers, hey, what is new? How do you improve the theme parks for people like me that have a disability? What is new in the market? And this is the content I want to do at IAPA. Of course, I will also play for myself the arcade game sections. I'm really interested in doing that as well. I know they have a lot of those bouncing things. I'm not going there with my foot, because just imagine going with my completely damaged foot on those trampoline stuff, hurting myself, and then explaining that accident to my insurance company. I don't want to explain stuff like that to them, because they already think I am crazy after I climbed Mount Fuji and did the Red Bull 400 with my foot. There's no way that I can explain to them, hey, I am disabled since I was the last time on a trampoline. And I had the great idea going back on a trampoline in Orlando on a convention. I don't think that my insurance will cover for that. So no trampolines for me, but if my friend wants to jump on the trampolines, he is completely welcome. I will film him and I will laugh at him if he falls. So maybe it's great content. And the other thing I'm really interested in IAPA is trying the new theme park food and drinks. I am easy to be happy. So just trying stuff like that out. And again, I know Jake, my friend, will be really interested in all of the Halloween stuff. They have a really big Halloween section at IAPA. I am not going there. Maybe I'm going there if they can guarantee me that there was no jump scare, that there was no person waiting in the dark corner and stuff like that, because I am getting jump scared so easily. I am the girl that is squeaking like a guinea pig, jumping 1 meter back, and everyone around me is scared as well because I am getting scared. So this is the reason why I'm not doing horror nights, because I'm like, yeah, I really want to because I don't mind getting scared, but I know that I am getting scared so badly that everyone else is getting scared. For an example, I went out of the mummy. A friend of mine was with me. She said hi to the person on the stairs that was waiting in the merchandise area. Because I was somewhere else with my head, I didn't realize that he was there until he was standing directly in front of me. I was looking up and I got scared so bad. I squeaked like a guinea pig, jumped, nearly destroyed all the stuff that was standing behind me. The poor girl from the cashier was just laughing her heart out. She couldn't stop laughing. My friend was rolling on the floor because she was laughing so hard. And the actor on the stills, he's not allowed to laugh, but he just couldn't behave. He was laughing at me so bad. And I was like, good, everyone has a great time beside of me. It's fine. Then everyone was like, hey, but you can always go to horror nights and wear the loser button. I'm like, yeah, for the scare zone, it's fine, but not for the houses. The scare zone, there would be enough room for me to jump when I'm getting scared and no one will get hurt. But in the houses, everyone will have joy with me when I'm going through those houses. So maybe it's not a good idea. Another example of how bad this situation is going to go. I was with friends at Disneyland Paris Halloween night, and it's not like the Orlando version, that not so scary Halloween party. They have scare zones at Disneyland Paris. I told my friends, we are not going there. We are not going to Pirates. We are not going to Main Street. The scare actors are there and I am not going there. And they were like, don't be a pussy. It's not that bad. You are in the middle of our group. Nothing will happen to you. We will protect you. I was like, okay, it's your fault. It's your fault. Everything that is happening from this point on, you are responsible for it. So we went to Pirates because they wanted to go to Pirates. And I'm like, okay. And of course it happened. There was a pirate coming from one corner. He was jumping in front of me. I was scared so badly, started jumping and nearly took my whole group with me in the pond in front of the pirates at Paris during Halloween. And I'm like, are you believing me that jump scares is nothing we should try out with me? And they were like, yeah, okay, let's go to It's a Small World. Maybe this is more for you. I'm like, yeah, let's go to It's a Small World. No one will scare me there on Halloween night. Best idea. So yeah, I am that easily scared. Another example, another funny one. I was working in the Sea Life Center and we had a corner. You couldn't see something that is going on around the corner. My coworker didn't want to scare me. He was just existing in this place. And we had the otters on the other side. He scared me so badly that I jumped over the fence inside of the otter habitat. And my co-workers were like, the otter's starting to come with me. They wanted to bite me. And I'm like, can you please end me? I don't want to get killed by otters today. And everyone was just like, he was just existing in this space. What the heck is wrong with you? Why are you getting scared that easy? And I'm like, do you want to try to watch a horror movie at the movie theater with me? And eat some popcorn, for an example, or drinking a Coke? So no, definitely no horror nights for me this year. And again, at the IAPA, only if they can guarantee me that no one is waiting inside the Halloween section. And even then, they have animatronics. And I know myself, even an animatronics can scare me. So maybe I should just... I had this tactic during Skull Island back in the days when they had scare actors inside the line. Always had a group in front of me and always was pushing them in the next dark corner and testing if someone was there. If they started screaming, I was prepared. So yeah, this would maybe be a solution for the IAPA, for the Halloween section. Just taking Jake and pushing him in front of dark corners and see how he is reacting. This would be the only solution for me to go to the Halloween section. And yeah, again, I talked to one of you guys on Friday during the live stream, pretty long, and it was a really nice conversation we had. And I will definitely ask a lot of questions of, again, what is new accessibility-wise in the theme parks, because I saw it at Hulk, and I don't know if this is something that can maybe get improved, because a little boy in front of me was severe autistic and he needed to wear headphones. And I overheard the conversation, and and the cast member told him, "Hey, we have headphones that are working on the whiteboard. They are not that safe and secure, especially for a child." So this is something I think I will ask the engineers if they maybe think about it or coming up with a solution for stuff like that. For headphones that autistic kids or even adults can wear in those roller coasters that are maybe attached to the vehicle so they can't get loose and getting flying away or stuff like that. I think this would be a great thing for everyone on the spectrum that could benefit from it. Or I was talking to one of you guys, maybe just have the option of turning down the music of the white vehicle, of this specific seat. When someone with autism is sitting at that specific seat, that they can just turn down the music of this special seat. I don't know, or I can't see a reason why this wouldn't be possible to engineer, because there should be just an easy switch to turn those speakers off. So everyone else can still enjoy the music, the sound effects, and the speakers, but for this specific seat, they could turn them down. This is something I really want to ask at IAPA, and there were a lot of questions and ideas how we can improve white vehicles. And it's not only white vehicles. The IAPA is for everything related to the theme parks, for managing the lines and queues and stuff like that. Things you never thought about. I was used when I saw TÜV Nord has also a booth at the IAPA. It's a German company that is responsible for the safety of cars, basically, normally. They are also responsible for the safety of escalators or lifts or stuff like that. And I only now found out that they are also responsible for the safety in theme parks, and especially for the white system safety. And so I think they are also a quite nice interview partner to ask those questions, specifically talking about accessibility and what we can improve to make those rides safer for everyone. Same is going for ride restraining and stuff like that. I know their best friend is severe autistic. Maybe there was a solution to have better access and better security measurements for people like her. She just didn't like to get touched by anyone. Don't touch her. And maybe there is another thing in the development that is making stuff like that easier. But you never know. I think those are definitely questions worth asking at IAPA, because I think no other content creator, at least I never saw an IAPA video of someone going around IAPA and asking those questions and making sure that engineers are thinking about it, because I think most of the time disabled people think they don't want to think about it. But I think in reality, they didn't even realize that this area existed in the first place. This is a lot of things I realized over the last couple of years. A friend of mine is blind, and there were so many things where I didn't even realize that this could be a barrier to someone. Same as going to last Friday. One of you guys told me about your children are not small children anymore, and when you need to clean them up, you don't have space. You need to put them on the bathroom floor. And it's disgusting. You don't want to lay down on a bathroom floor in a theme park. They just should have a wall or something to attach on the wall so you can fold it down and have a space available for you guys. And not only those people would benefit, older persons, stuff like that. It would benefit everyone. And this would be especially in the accessible or family rooms, in the bathrooms, an easy fix. Just mount it on the wall. Make sure that a ground out maybe 100 kilos is able to hold the weight of this little clap thing. But I never thought about that stuff like that would be possible, or that you would need stuff like that. It's like the peepholes at Surfside in the accessible room. I never saw it. I was never even thinking about it, but it makes so much sense that in the accessible rooms at Surfside, you have 2 peepholes. And you can see in this way exactly where the accessible rooms are located, because normal people have normal height, eye level, but a wheelchair user, his eye level or her eye level is way lower, so they need a peephole on their eye level. Never ever thought about it, that stuff like that would be necessary, and I saw it and I was like, yeah, completely cool. And for me, the accessible rooms are completely working out. They are great. The shower, I don't have a barrier, I can't slip, it's slippery proof. I am really happy with the accessible rooms, but Jake, a friend of mine, his ex-friend was sitting in a wheelchair. He was going into the room. Everything was nice. He was like, a great room, enough space. You can go here with a wheelchair with no problem at all. But the only thing he was like, but what is about the thing? And I was like, the thing was the perfect height for me. Never thought about it. It was a perfect height. It was a normal height sink. And he was like, a wheelchair user is not able to use this sink. It's an accessible room specifically designed for wheelchair user, but no one thought about attaching the sink a little bit lower. And this is exactly the problem, because people are just, it's not that they don't want to, they just not thinking during the process about stuff like that. It's the same with the loop at Epic. I was so, why didn't you think about it? It's so obvious. I don't know if they changed it. I will keep you updated in November, but in January, there was not a single bench in the bus loop of Epic Universe for the resort buses. And I'm like, where do I sit down? I mean, during daytime, when the shuttle buses are not running every 5 minutes, you could wait maybe 15 minutes, and I just can't be on my foot. I need to sit down during that time, especially when I had a theme park day behind me. Why don't you have benches here? I mean, at City Walk, you have at least 4. It's not much, but at least you have benches. You can ask for them, and a cast member will help you when other people will not make room for you and you need them. But at Epic, there is not even the option. And I was going to the cast members and I was like, there's no benches. And the cast members didn't even realize it, because the cast members are not using those kind of buses for the resort shuttles. No other guest until I was coming has complained about it. So everyone, I think a lot of people realized it, especially it's not only for people like me with mobility issues, elderly people. So many people would just benefit from a few benches there. And again, the same was at Surfside. The manager told me, yeah, please complain about it. We also need a few more benches here at our bus stop, because there, officially there is not a single bench, I think, but you can sit down on the pavement. It's not that big a deal if it's at Surfside or just outside of the lobby and wait for the bus. It's not that big of a deal, but at Epic, I think it's a big deal that there are no benches in the whole bus loop. And the Surfside bus is, of course, the bus not the farthest away, but it is really far away from the exit or the entrance. So you will walk for a little while, and there was enough room. It's not like they don't have space to put their benches. There would be so much room to put normal benches in the bus loop. So I just couldn't understand why they weren't figuring it out or thinking about it, just putting benches in the bus loop. And again, this is something, just talk about stuff like that to Universal. They definitely will be kind. They will make notes, and they will forward your information to the people that are responsible for it. And at Stardust Racer, I told the story many times. I saw those changes in place after a couple of days after my complaints. So when you see something that is not working for you because of your disability or stuff like that, talk to it, talk about it, talk to Universal about it, because the chances are pretty high that you are not the only person that is struggling with this situation. And if more people are complaining, they will make those changes. I can guarantee you that. At Stardust Racer, again, I saw it after a couple of days. The situation in front of the lockers in the beginning was just a nightmare. They merged Express Pass AAP and the normal line in front of the lockers, and letting everyone in front of the lockers. And they were fighting for their lives. I get pushed into the lockers so hard that I crushed one of my whips. And I was like, this is going, you need to change it. People are bonkers, and then you need to climb the stairs. I obviously use the lift every time, but you see how the people were standing on the stairs and fighting and slipping and stuff like that. And after my complaint, they only left a certain amount of people in front of the locker area and waited until the stairs was cleared, until they left the next until the next people had access to the lockers. So a lot of the fighting stuff had stopped, and everyone was more happy with the new situation. So definitely, if you see stuff like that, talk to Universal. Even if they are not changing it immediately, if more people are complaining about the exact same stuff, at one point, I am certain Universal will at least listen. Disney, on the other hand, is just not taking care. They don't care. They just throw your advices or your recommendations in the bin. I saw it so many times at Disney. It's crazy. I don't think that it should be this way. It should be the other way around. But at Universal, I think they really want to learn together with people with disabilities. It was so fun at Surfside. I talked with the manager about my blind friend, and I was like, hey, I heard about your rooms for deaf and blind people. The only thing I noticed, because again, when you have a blind friend, you notice stuff like that, your elevators are not calling the floor when you're in the elevators. What are you doing when someone who is blind is coming? Is there for you a button to push so that the lifts can tell you on which floor they are? And she was like, it's a great question. I will definitely ask for it, because this is really interested. And I know they have rooms for deaf people. In case of an emergency, they will have visual effects that are notifying you, and the other way around. For people that are blind, they have audio cues that are calling you, hey, there's an emergency, you need to leave. So I think it's great that they are providing exactly those rooms for people that may have those needs. And yeah, it was so funny, because afterwards they told me, hey, any chance that your blind friend maybe wants to come with you so we can use her as a test rabbit and see how it's actually working for someone who is blind? And I was like, I could ask her, but she's not that big into theme parks. Maybe she would come with me to Orlando and be 1 or 2 days at Universal, but I don't think she would spend 2 weeks at Surfside with me. But yeah, this shows me that Universal really would love to have her there, just to learn a thing or two about how they can make the hotel even more accessible for people like her. And another thing I never saw in another theme park, never saw at Disney. I'm sure Disney is having stuff like that. I just haven't seen it yet. It was just so visible for me because of my blind friend with a guide dog. The guide dog name is Thor. They have kennels in front of all of the main attractions for guide animals, service animals. And I think this is so neat. And I had the experience of a guide dog that was coming. Hi, Michael. At Ministry of Magic, and the guide dog needed the kennel, and the cast members made the announcement at Ministry, we have a magical creature here, so can someone help the magical creature? And it was just a fun way to include the animal and make the day of the disabled person a little bit more fun. And everyone had fun with the magical creature. And I think providing those kennels is really, really cool. And I saw them at Disney. I don't know where they are at Universal, but pet release areas are quite easy to find at Disney. I think at Universal also, I just haven't looked them up on the map or stuff like that. I think this is another thing I talked a lot about, that Universal should maybe include with the AAP a special park map for people like us, with maybe quiet areas, places that are for people like my friend who is autistic, where not many sensory overload is happening. So maybe designing a map for people like her, so she knows, okay, if I'm getting overstimulated, this is the best place where I can go just to decompress. And for me, it would be really, really nice. I know it's funny. I am working on it actually, a map where I can find every bench that is located on Universal property. This is a mission I will finish during my next trip in Orlando, that I will know every bench in every Universal park. And I will try every bench out. I mean, it's funny, but I think in 2 weeks it's realistic that I will have to sit down at least at every bench in the park once, so I can test out the best benches for you guys. And yeah, I think those informations would be great. The same as going to the first aid. I unfortunately needed to go to first aid in January a couple of times, and they were the kindest human beings I've ever met. And I was never thinking about going to first aid. I mean, the Universal cast member basically needed to force me twice to go there, because I was like, no, it's not that fine and not that bad. And they were like, I am pretty sure you broke your rib a few seconds ago. I think we should go to first aid. And I was like, no, it's fine, I can still breathe. And he was like, no, please. So, yeah, this was not the worst one, but I had someone stomp on my foot at Mario Kart that nearly shattered my metal plate. And the cast member, or the first aid responder who was handling that situation, he gave me a toothless plush. He's sitting there, and he was the most honest person I've ever met in case of my disability, because everyone is like, everything is fine, blah, 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 it's not that bad. And he was just sitting me down, and he was like, this is the worst injury humanly possible you can have on your foot. Liz Frank is always a dead end. If it's only in a normal way broken most of the time, there was no way to recover from it. And you shattered all of the bones. It was completely broken and shattered, and it was dislocated. There was just no humanly way, even as with a fused foot, to recover from that injury. This is a thing, and I am telling you this in the nicest way possible, but I think from 10 years from now, your foot need to get amputated. Never ever had a doctor told me that into my face. Everyone was like, yeah, we could try fusing it again, because the first time it didn't work out well. Half of the fused foot is already broken up again, and they're like, yeah, we can try it again. Problem is, the next joint row is already having severe sweetness as well. So if we are deciding to fuse it, they needed to fuse the other row as well. And if they are fusing that part, then the next part of the foot would get a sweetness. And he was like, with amputation, prosthetics are pretty good. It's maybe a consideration to think about amputating your foot and have a nice prosthetics. Maybe it could save you a lot of pain in the future. And I'm like, never ever had someone talk to me like this about my injury. And I was like, you are just a theme park first aid responder. And you have so much knowledge about that kind of injury. It's impressive. And he was like, yeah, I was an emergency doctor back in the days, and I'm doing this as a pensioner just to get a little bit extra money and to keep me busy. And again, he gifted me a toothless plush and iced my foot, made sure everything was good, and helped me with a wheelchair to the bus loop to Surfside. And he was like to the bus driver, you are calling bell service. Bell service will help this girl up to her room and make sure she get new ice and she is fine for the night. So he definitely made sure that I was getting protected and getting good service until I am at my hotel room again. So never underestimate the first aid responder at those theme parks. So I definitely would recommend, especially again for a friend of mine who is suffering from autism. It's a good place to go if you feel that you're getting overstimulated and don't find a place to sit down. I mean, I made videos about it. I can give you a few places in each park where most of the time normally you should easily have space and room just to breathe and decompress. For an example, no one is thinking about it. A cast member suggested this to me. It's a Zeus Landing. Never thought that this would be the quietest place in Ireland, but it is. I looked it up. I went there a couple of times, or every time, especially the area in front of the bathrooms. If you hate people and need to get away of people, this is the place to be at Islands. The same as the benches when you're getting out of Discovery Center in front of a Velocicoaster to the left-hand side. They are in the shades, and there are barely people sitting there. So those are, at least for me, the two places if I am fed up with people because I got pushed all day, where I will sit down at Islands. Studios, it's just the lake in front of San Francisco. There are benches, it's never crowded there. And at Epic, of course, it's the fountains in front of the Helios. There was so much room. Never saw that that is crowded in this area. Even if the fountain show is going on, it's not crowded and it's nice and calm. And even if the fountain show is going off, it's only for 5 to 10 minutes. So if you need a place to rest, those are the best places. Luckily, I don't have a problem with this, but I know a lot of my viewers are on the spectrum and needed those knowledge and those places. And I am really, really happy to do my research and provide all those informations for you. And again, this was something I can definitely ask at IAPA if they are working on a virtual map, maybe in real time, that they could include in stuff like the AAP app to see, hey, this part of the park is at the moment really, really quiet. Need to leave the park. So this would be really, really nice. Have a special access thing. So I think you could include stuff that you could include a special map with special needs and a special benches or listening. Or I really want to talk about that. I really want to research it on the APA. Maybe universities should consider applying to get a certified autism center. I know Discovery Cove has it. I know that Kennedy Space Center is a certified autistic center, and I think this would be pretty easy. You could, at one hand, maybe just add it in the AAP and say, hey, if you are autistic, those are the senses that are getting triggered in this traction or show. this would, I think, help a lot of people with autism and stuff like that. So this would be nice to add. Or at the warning signs. I mean, at the roller coasters, there are already so many warning signs most of the time. Just add, as in Kennedy Space Center, those signs, which senses will get triggered. Again, I talked to one of you guys on Friday, pretty long and a pretty good conversation. And her kids would definitely benefit from those kinds of signs, because then they could decide if at that point in time they are able to go there or not. For an example, my autistic friend, on a bad day, we are not going to a musical theater. And when we are going on a good day, we went to Lion King because she really wanted to see Lion King again. And I was like, okay, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as Hercules. So I am a musical girl. I majored in musicals. So yeah, okay, let's go to Lion King. And I know a few friends. I know the actor who is playing Scar, for an example. And I was like, hey, can we get free tickets? And he was like, yeah, sure, of course. And then I got the list of seating spaces and places which are a no-go for my autistic friend. And I was like, maybe it's easier just to tell me where you do want to sit, because this list for healthy people who is not neurodiverse, I just don't understand it. I just don't understand your preferences. Maybe it's just easier when you are talking to my friend and choosing the seats, because again, this is something normal people wouldn't not understand. And I think just provide those spaces in the shows. I know you have accessible seating in all of the Universal shows, but I don't think that those spaces are good for neurodiverse people, because it makes sense. I can only at the moment remember the Bonn setup, the stadium from Bonn, from the accessible point of view, and I knew that those accessible places are in the middle of the middle. They are in the middle of the middle row, and yeah, you have a lot of space around it, but this would not work for my neurodiverse friend, because she's like, I want to sit as close at the exit as humanly possible, because if I feel overstimulated, if I feel just overwhelmed, I can easily leave without everyone else knowing that I am leaving. So no one is staring at me, and I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. It makes completely sense to me. And at Bonn, I definitely know there aren't accessible seating spaces directly near the exit. I think this is something it should be considered. And again, I really think Universal should start thinking or applying to be a certified autistic center, because otherwise they are doing such a great job. I know maybe it's from the operational standpoint not possible, but again, I talked to one of you guys who has 2 severe autistic girls, and she was like, or I was like, here in Germany, we now have quiet shopping hours for neurodiverse people. IKEA, for an example, I think once a week or once a month, I don't know, but there was one evening with quiet hours. I think 3 or 4 hours where neurodiverse people can go, where they turn off the music and stuff like that. I don't know if it's possible, but maybe doing each month one park for one evening, opening up just for neurodiverse people. This would be, I think, really successful. I think it's not necessarily only for neurodiverse people. I think normal people can also go there, as long as they are sticking to the rules, no shouting and not screaming and stuff like that. I think this would be a really nice thing, a really cool thing to do, to opening those spaces up for one evening a month just for those kind of people, so they are able to enjoy it without suffering through it. As I said, I don't think that it would make sense money-wise to opening up those places to people in need, but I think it would make a huge impact. And again, Universal is doing a great job with inclusion, and inclusion is always a good thing to have marketing wise. I am a former journalist. I think the press would pick it up pretty easy and give you good press if you are trying stuff like that out. You don't need to force it and say, and this is now happening for forever. But maybe just, even if it's one day a year or stuff like that, like Walk the Universe, opening up one weekend all the parks or islands, or just one park, one weekend each year for people that are neurodiverse. I, as I said, I don't need to go, but I know so many people who would benefit from it. I was a coach, a trainer for the Special Olympics as well. So, yeah, those people would also benefit, and have those cast member working that are trained to handle people like that. So this could also be a really slow day where the people just don't have the pressure, for an example, at attraction to meet the specific time frames, where they don't get the pressure of you need to have this time set up and only then you will get the bonus. Get rid of it. Take all the time all the people need to enjoy the ride. Don't pressure them, don't force them. This is another thing. This is driving my neurodiverse friend crazy when I'm going to a theme park with her. She is pressuring herself so badly to be as fast as possible, to be the fastest one in the car. And I'm like, chill down. I mean, it's easier said than done as a person who's not neurodiverse to say to her, hey, chill down. It's not that big of a deal. You don't need to pressure yourself. You have all the time of the world to board the train. But in her mind, she is putting up such a huge barrier in herself just because she don't want to get a burden to be in the boarding process. And I'm like, this is just ridiculous. Just chill. And if you need extra time, then you need extra time. Then the cast member will maybe not be able to get the 30 seconds at this point in time. It's not your problem. When you need the extra time for your safety, you need the extra time for your safety for boarding. But again, I don't think that Universal is even considering or thinking about stuff like that. But I think one neurodiverse weekend would be awesome at Universal. Maybe someone is watching and listening to it, but I don't think so, because my channel is still really, really and pretty small. But I think this would be such a nice thing to have. And also people like me would benefit from it, because with my mobility issue, I am self-confident enough. If I need the extra time for boarding, I need the extra time for boarding. If they need to stop the freaking Joshi so I can safely enter and exit this freaking Joshi, then the Joshis needs to stop. I don't care. I just want to be safe, and I know the cast members also wants me to be safe. The same is going at Joshi's. It's fine. Never needed to stop the ride, by the way. But at Frankenstein, with this in circle spinning platform, this is really hard for me for moving with my foot. And it's okay to go on the ride, but going off the ride, I am always asking to turn it off when I am on the need to exit, because it's just not safe. And at Hackwitz, I'm never stopping the ride, but I'm always talking to the cast member in private, hey, can you slow it down a little bit? Because I am not that fast, because I need to go on the motorbike. Otherwise, I just don't fit in the other thing. I just can't pretzel myself together to sit inside there. And I'm like, hey, I need just a few more seconds to go on the bike. Please, can you provide it to me? Never ever had an issue. And most of the time they are like, yeah, okay, you have go now, start earlier with the boarding process. This is your car. I will let you go before the others, so you have extra time to board. And just communicate it. And I think for me, as not neurodiverse a person who only has a mobility problem, it's not that big of a deal to ask those questions. But for neurodiverts, it is. And even for people with mobility issues, what healthy and normal people don't understand is that it is exhausting. It is exhausting, and it's never the cast members or the people's fault around them. But I can only talk for myself, but sometimes I just have the breaking point. Because I am so exhausted of explaining the same thing over and over, and it's not the fault of the cast member, but sometimes it's just this tiny bit too much when they are asking one stupid question. This is not a stupid question from their point of view, but this question was asked for me 100 times before. And at that point, I'm just like, I'm done. And this is something I am really trying to communicate with this channel and talking a lot about, because I think this exhaustion is something we really need to talk and communicate. Because people, when you see me in the park, I'm looking completely fine. Beside of my orthopedic shoes, in the beginning of the day, I'm walking completely fine. Walking is not that much of a big deal for me. But standing and putting pressure on my fused and completely arthritis-plagued foot is a deal. And the later the day is getting, the more pain I have. And this is the reason why I need to break up my days every time at lunch, because otherwise my foot would just tell me the next day, are you crazy? We are staying at the hotel. And people just don't see it. People see me walking, and then they assume, yeah, she is fine. But no, I'm not. I am not fine. I am not fine. And yeah. And again, this is not a cast member's fault or problem when they are asking me the same question over and over and over again. And I know back in the days where the AAP was on a paper ticket, they had a print of that I need the lift. And I think this should be added to now the to the new system as well. When I scan in for the AAP at the Express Pass entrance, there should be pop up a symbol that I need the lift. Because again, it's no one's fault, but when you ask for the lift for the 20th time that day, it's exhausting. And I am the person, I would never interfere with universal operations. I am asking every time. I know exactly where every lift is. I could easily use most of them without a cast member supervising them. Me, because most of the time, at the end of the trip, most of the cast members that are working in the locker areas and so know me, and they are like, yeah, you know the way, go to the lift. But I will every time make eye contact and let them know, hey, I'm here, I need the lift, I am going to the boarding area. And you have, at a few attractions, really difficult procedures. And this is, for an example, Hulk. I'm never doing Hulk more than, the highest is twice a day, because the procedure is just so exhausting. And the fun thing is, not all cast members know the exact procedure. So the first times I did it, I was so frustrated. And again, it was no one's fault. So the right procedure is you go to the locker areas. If you have medication or stuff like that, that needs to be with you to the last second, you can take all your stuff with you. But at Hulk, you go to the lockers, put everything at the lockers, show the girl in the front of the Express Pass line your AAP return time. She will give you a paper ticket Express Pass. Then you need to put your phone in the locker again. And then you need to go to the exit of Hulk. And on the I don't want to give away the exact position to normal people, but then there was a lift. And normally, they are telling me every time, a cast member is waiting for you at the lift. Guess what? I've never ever saw once a cast member at that lift. And for security reason, completely understandable, this lift is secured, so you need the cast member key to unlock the lift. So every time I am waiting in front of the lift for 10 minutes, nothing has happened. Then I'm most of the time going to the metal detector access point and let those cast members know, hey, I need to go on the lift. Please, can you call the lift for me? And then you are on the boarding platform at Hulk, get the special security check, and can board the train. So it's so much stuff to think about. It's so exhausting that I am only going on Hulk at least twice because it's such a long and complicated procedure. Velocicoaster, for an example, it's just easier. You can decide at the locker area. Most of the time I'm using normally the lockers, put my stuff there, talk to the cast member, go to the lift, and I am up at the boarding area. And I know that I should not feel that way, but I don't want to go more than maybe 2 or 3 times a day because I'm like, I don't want to be a burden for the cast members. Yeah, I know I could technically fetch 20 AAP times for Velocicoasters, and the cast members are always telling me, do so, you love this coaster so much, come as often as you want, you are not a burden. We love to help you, but I feel like a burden. I don't want the special treatment because, again, as Velocicoaster, I can't climb the stairs, so I'm using the lift and I am directly on the boarding area, and you will get the looks from everyone that is standing in the normal line because most of the time they even ask me, hey, where do you want to sit? I would never ask for front row, never, because I know that so many people are waiting longer just for the front row. And one of those cast members noticed it and they were like, you are going front row every time I'm here because you deserve it. And I'm like, I appreciate it. But yeah, this adds up. Let's face it this way. I think Hagrid's it's just the easiest one for someone like me. I heard that the Express Pass thing is gone at Hagrid's. I don't know what is happening to the AAP. But in January, it was still AAP Express Pass, had their own boarding area, and everything was without a barrier, and I just could use the completely normal Express Pass line at Hagrid's and have my bag with me on the ride. Hagrid's was far the easiest one for my mobility issue with the AAP, without feeling guilty. I know I should not feel guilty, but I do. And then we come to attractions like Mummy. This is confusing me every time. You are using the lift, and then it really depends on which side of the car you are, which most of the time they are putting you in this row that you have an barrier-free going down. You don't need to climb stairs after the ride. Most of the time they are great and taking care of that. But this was one of the only bad experiences I had at a boarding area. I was standing there and used the lift at Mummy because everyone was telling me to do so, standing in front of the cast member, and she was like, why are you here? And I was like, yeah, because I can't climb stairs and they told me to be here. And she was so annoyed in just helping me and finding a place in the trains, and I'm like, okay, as long as you are on the shift, I am not going on Mummy anymore because this is making me really uncomfortable because I am already pushing pressure on me that I am a burden when I need to use the lift, and when a cast member then is putting those buttons with me, I'm just like, I don't want to do it again. And yeah, then let's now talk about Ministry of Magic. It's crazy because it's so brand new, and they maybe should have invented another way because there was, first of all, no way without a cast member that is assisting you the whole time to go there without a lift. And I think it's annoying for the cast members because you need to take at least 2 lifts for the boarding area at Ministry. They need to escort you the whole way. It's their time that is going, and I mean, this is another attraction I am only doing once a day because I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to be there every 10 minutes and, hey, I really want to go again. I mean, every 2 hours. It's more realistic with the waiting times. And this is sad. I think toothless, for an example, the hiccups wing uprider. This is again a super easy one. I really like. I am not feeling bad about using it a couple of times. If you can't climb the stairs, just go to the merging point in front of the lockers. Again, put everything in the lockers. Talk to the cast member, and they will bring you to the exit. And they are so cute and nice most of the time. They are like, is it okay for you to wait? And I'm like, yeah, do you see the waiting line of all the other people that just went through the merging points? They are waiting for 10-15 minutes now. I can wait for the same amount of time. You don't need to prioritize me. I am glad that I don't need to climb those stairs. Most of the time, when you are that polite and nice and understandable, they will put you in the next train in the front row. But I never expected stuff like that. I would completely wait the exact amount of time because I am just not able to climb those stairs. So I don't want to be specialized every time. This is something I really don't like. And at hiccups, it was the only time they are asking me most of the time if I am able to evacuate in the case of emergency. I'm like, yeah, I would be able to climb the stairs if you are assisting me in the case of an emergency. And they are like, okay, nothing ever happened, but we just need to know in case there is something going on. We know that you are in that train and that you then will need extra help. And I think it's completely legit as a safety feature that they wanted to know. And yeah, I think, again, for all of the attractions by now, I know the exact procedure for the lift and boarding area situation. Stardust Racer, it's so complicated. I love Stardust Racer. It's one of my favorite roller coasters in the world. But after the incident that someone broke my whip in the locker area, the one time, I never had a panic attack in my life. But being in the crowded area and getting pushed again, I really started panicking, and a cast member witnessed it, and I was like, I just leave the line. It's fine, let me out. I pick up my stuff at the other side of the lockers. It's not your fault. And he was like, no. I know your face because everyone was briefed on your incident the other day. Come with me, I will board you VIP in front of the train. And I'm like, you don't have to, really don't have to. And he was like, I insist of helping you. And I'm like, it's so kind. And again, Stardust Racer is one of those attractions. If you just ask them, hey, I can't climb the stairs, they just point at the lift and you are good to go. The lift is not secured like on the other attractions. And I think the only thing I still don't like, I mean, it's good that they only let a certain amount of people now in the locker area to get rid of those pushing and fighting that was going on. But you still have the access, the merging point in front of the security metal detector. And this is something that is also really annoying when you have a lot of metal in your foot. I learned from one of the security cast members, I need to use a metal detector on the, my foot is on the left-hand side, where the scanning point is on the left-hand side. Then my foot will not get the bell ringing and will not notify the cast members that I have metal with me. On the other side, immediately going off. And most of the time, because not the cast members' fault again, I am peeping. And people behind me were yelling at me and calling me a stupid idiot for not putting my stuff away. And I was just turning around me and I was like, I am so sorry that I just can't cut off my foot. It's not of your business. It's so most of the time I'm going through metal detection at Universal. I not going through metal detection. I am looking the security member in the face, showing my foot, and I'm like, metal, everything is metal in my foot. It will go off anyway. And they are like, yeah, okay, come here, second inspection. And then they made sure everything is fine. And it's just, less stressful for me than dealing with all the stupid comment from other people that are standing in line and assuming that I am not smart enough to put my stuff away before entering the metal detector. It's just, again, this none of your business stuff. And in the beginning of the day, I am chilled, I am cool, but at the end of the day, when you have the exact same situation, people yelling and going at you without knowing you, you are getting exhausted and you are getting tired of those comments that assuming that you are cheating or stuff like that. And I think this is something, again, why I started this channel in the first place. Because I know a lot of you guys are experiencing the exact same thing in those theme parks. I read your comments, I talked to you guys. I know that exactly those situations are the thing that you are scared of in planning your Universal trip. And I can't guarantee you that those stuff is not happening to you, but because it will. I am not sugarcoating it. People are crazy. I was, again, just a few incident things from 2 weeks in January. Someone pushed me down the stairs at Jushi's. He wanted the yellow Jushi. I was not able to stabilize because of my damaged foot, because I don't have stabilization going anymore. So I went through the stairs and nothing happened but bruises, of course, because of a freaking Joshi collar. Then someone stepped on my foot at Mario Kart that nearly crushed my metal plate. Then I had a whip broken at Stardust Racer. Then constant pushing going on at Werewolves, where I was like, I am leaving the line, I am done. I told you guys a couple of times the ride was breaking down. Please don't enter my personal space. I don't want you to get near my foot. They didn't listen and they started pushing at me, and I was like, I am out. I can't deal with it at this point anymore. It was late in the evening and I'm like, I am so exhausted. I don't want to get hurt again. And then no one was hurt, but it just shows you how selfish and ridiculous other guests are. I wanted to go on the carousel thing at Epic. I was like, it's chilled, it's a children attraction. What can go wrong? There is no pushing. Those is not for adults. I will be fine. In the entrance, I was going to the cast member and I'm like, hey, is your crowd well behaved in this attraction? At this point, I am scared of getting pushed downstairs and pushed into lockers, and I don't want to fill out another incident report today at Universal. And he was looking at me, everyone here is a happy noodle, everyone is behaving well. And I explained everything that happened over the past couple of days, and he was so shocked, and he took me and going with me in front of the wow, and he was like, which animal do you want? And because he really wanted me to have a good time, and he wanted me to go first on without people touching me, without people pushing me. And I was staying there and I was like, I don't have a preference. I just want to have a nice time on the carousel and just enjoy. But if you are asking, I want to have the rabbit. And he was like, yeah, sure, I will make sure you get the rabbit. He is opening the gate. A girl next to us overheard our conversation. And guess what she was doing? She was running as if her life is depending on it for the rabbit. She was going on the rabbit right in front of my nose. The cast member was so shocked at the moment. He really wanted just to pull her down from the rabbit, and I'm like, it's okay. I'm taking the areas. I am not fighting for an animal. I'm a grown-up adult. I don't fight for an animal on a carousel. It's fine, not your fault. And he was like, what had just happened? And I'm like, people has just happened. This is happening to me now 2 weeks straight at Epic Universe. I am a former journalist. I was at the roughest places on earth for coverage of situations that were going on. And I am really confident at this point, at least back in January, Epic Universe sometimes is worse than an active war zone. Because when you're in an active war zone, you know what you get yourself into. Surfside, I talked a lot to the check-in staff because they wanted to know every bit of gossip that was going on in the end of the day. And one of those cast members was suggesting me, maybe you should just wear a full protection gear the next time you go to Epic. And I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm a CrossFitter. Maybe I just should wear one of those metal plates when I'm going to Epic, just not to get hurt again. It's just like, what is going on at this park? And the fun thing is, I never ever have, I am visiting Universal since 2015. A single incident in studios or islands. Never ever. And at Epic, I don't know. Maybe it's getting better in November because I still love Epic. Maybe because I'm just crazy, but I think this is something healthy people don't understand. Again, I have a hidden disability. No one is seeing my mobility issues, but this constantly asking for help. Again, this is nothing Universal can do about it, nothing the cast members' fault, but as I said, in the beginning of the day, it's okay. You are having energy, you are excited for the theme park day, but in the evening, it can start to become exhausting to ask for the exact same accommodation every time. And I can understand why people watching my channel are scared of going to those theme parks. And again, I had the conversation on Friday with one of you guys with two autistic girls, and she is really, really unsure if she is managing it. And I'm like, Universal will do everything. You will be fine Universal-wise. And other guests, just make sure that they are not entering your personal space is my recommendation. The fun thing is she will be there when I am there, and I offered her just a little bit of my help when they are arriving, just to figure everything out for them. So this is something I definitely want to do. If I have the chance to help you guys, I will always provide this help. And there was another thing, and it was the exact same thing for me. She is in the applying process for the AAP show. So I was like, hey, I can help you out. No problem. I can tell you what you need and what you need to upload in the process. And she was telling me, if they will not approve the AAP for my girls, I am not going. And this is something I think a lot of people don't understand. The AAP is not a nice to have, not a cheating the system. For people like us, it's the difference between going to Universal and not going to Universal. I was in the exact same position as I applied now for my AAP. After being completely exhausted and crying in front of guest services, I was never thinking about applying for AAP. In January, I was going to Universal with the mindset, they have single rider lines, I am fine. Spoilers, I was not, because I had the bad experience at Disney. I made the video about the DAS. So I really hesitated about applying for another accommodation system. And I was so exhausted. I was at that point at guest services, and I'm like, I am only here, it's my second day. And I am considering and going back to the airport in the evening and leaving and flying home. And she was like, no, we will find a solution. You staying 2 weeks at Surfside, we will find a solution that you will have a good time at Universal. So she set it up, the AAP for me. And it was just a complete game changer. Normally, before the AAP, I would be exhausted after 3 hours. Wouldn't be able to do another thing. If I would have pushed me beyond that limit, I would have stayed in the hotel room and in my bed or at the pool the next 2 to 3 days, because I needed to recover, because I am just not physically able with my pain level to stand in a normal line. And the AAP, because I now can sit down during that waiting time, completely removed it. And for the first time in my accident was 2011. For the first time since 2011, I finished a park day without being in a crucial amount of pain. Just to give you an example how bad it can be, I was at Disneyland Paris Halloween 3 years ago, I think it was now. And after the Halloween party, I was not physically able anymore to walk to the bus. I was jumping like a bunny on one leg back to my hotel room. And the next day, I wasn't able to put any pressure on the foot. They needed to rent a wheelchair, so I was able to go back to the airport. And with the AAP in place, it was my first park day I enjoyed fully without being in pain in the evening. So this is the difference between using the AAP and not. And my condition is getting worse every day. The arthritis is going worse and worse. Again, I am at that point that doctors are thinking about amputating it and using prosthetics because maybe that could remove the pain level I'm in constantly. So without the AAP, I maximum would be able in 2 weeks to do two park days. And yeah, I applied again. She set it up, the AAP and everything, and she explained the process how I apply the next time regularly. And yeah, did it. And even if it was approved the last time, I was so anxious about getting denied because I know at Disney I had such a stupid conversation about the DAS back in the days. And even then, yeah, it was approved, but they gave me shit for it. You can rewatch my Tower of Terror incident, never ever going to a Disney park again after that. So I was really, really scared. So I set it up with IBCCES, got approved within seconds, sent it them my doctor's note, and I don't know if it was so obvious, but they approved it right away. So then it's green, and then during the IBCCS process, you select the theme parks you want to go, selected Universal Orlando. So Universal wrote me an email back, hey, we received your application, and I think it said 2 days before you arrive, we will schedule your phone interview. And I'm like, no, I need to know now if you will approve me for the AAP. 2 days before I'm going, and there is a slight chance you may say no, I can't cancel my trip with this kind of short notice. So I called Universal and they were like, I was like, hey, can we reschedule it? I really want to have an appointment that is near, it's closer to my date when I am coming. And they were like, okay, do you have time now? And I was like, yeah, I don't have anything to do. Yeah, okay, we will do the AAP interview now. Problem was, I am from Germany. It was an international call. I think it took us half an hour. But I was like, okay, this is definitely worth paying the money for when you wanted to say so. So she only asked me, well, she said, yeah, I saw it was already approved, but we need to go to the process again. So she only asked one question. What is the reason why you can't stand in line? So I explained her what my foot is doing, how my diagnosis is working, and that I'm just not able to stand more than 10 minutes. And even that only with the support of my foot with crutches. Then she was like, would you benefit from a wheelchair? And I'm like, I am going on my own. A wheelchair is not a possibility for me, and I don't feel comfortable. It's an emotional thing. I am not ready to use a wheelchair yet. And she was like, it's completely understandable if you want to use a wheelchair. And then the most anxious 15 minutes over the last couple of weeks started. So she was like, I will have a look what I can do for you, and put me for 15 minutes on hold. Those 15 minutes, I was like, did I said something wrong? What if she is coming back to me and saying no? And of course, everything was fine. She said, yeah, we can definitely give you the exact same level of AAP. I will add the lift situation as well this time from the beginning, and you are welcome. And I'm like, this is great. So if you're applying for the AAP and had the AAP before, I just warn you, because before that, the AAP was still attached to my Universal account. After that interview, the AAP was gone for my Universal app. Again, I started panicking and I called Universal again and I was like, hey, my AAP is gone. What had happened? And they were like, yeah, here's the problem. The AAP can only get attached to a ticket. This is the reason, one of you guys, I explained the process to you Friday. You can only apply for the AAP or have this interview when you have an active ticket connected to your account. So I think she didn't have a ticket yet for her children. And I was like, yeah, then you can do the IBCCS thing. Everything is fine. But Universal can't attach the AAP to the tickets yet. So a phone interview is not making sense now. You can only schedule the phone interview when you have an active ticket on your account. Another thing I've learned, and I think this is the crazy part, you won't find any of those information in the internet. Only if you're listening to YouTube channels like me, but it's not mentioned. This whole process is not explained in this much details at Universal. I think maybe it's not, you don't need it in this details, I think, but people that rely on the AAP, I think they want to schedule this phone interview earlier than 24 or 48 hours before arriving at the parks. So she was like, yeah, okay, it's your AAP will return in the app as soon as you enter the park. Then your ticket is activated and your AAP is already set up and you can use it like the last time. And I'm like, I have free tickets for March. And she was like, yeah, this is a little bit complicated. Then we actually need to set it up in the parks every time you activate one of those free tickets. And I'm like, I just buy an annual pass. At this point, I am going to Universal twice a year because the fun fact is when you have an annual pass, your AAP can get connected with the annual pass permanently, and you only need to upload a new doctor's note at IBCCS once a year. So I'm like, okay, a 2-week ticket will cost me here from Germany 500 euro. The good thing is Epic is included. But 2 of them are already $1,000 a year. So even the highest tier annual pass is cheaper than that. So just go with the annual pass and then buy Epic Days. Or maybe they are opening it up because next trip I still have the 2-week tickets. So I have access for 2 weeks at Epic. And in March I have my free tickets. I can upgrade. So I have Volcano Bay and Epic in March as well. And otherwise, I just have my annual pass connected to my AIP and just don't need to go through this interview procedure anymore. And again, I know I can completely understand. When you ask me, how is the interview? I am so scared of not getting approved. And here is the thing. When you are already approved by IBCCS, I think you really need to give Universal a reason that they think that you would cheat the system. This is another thing. The AAP is not about skipping the line. The AAP is about removing barriers. This is why they are asking the wheelchair question. If you are comfortable of using a wheelchair, then you can use a wheelchair and you would still be able to use the conventional line, because the conventional line, there was enough space for you in the wheelchair. So if you are using a wheelchair and this is the only thing you need, you won't get the AAP return time thing. You maybe get the lift access and this part of the AAP, but you wouldn't get the other thing. And this is something to keep in mind. It's about giving everyone the exact same chances in using the attractions with removing barriers. And I think this is what a lot of people don't understand. And I can't remember the name of you guys, which I was chatting on Friday with. She has 2 severe autistic children. For me, it's completely fine to enter the express pass line and wait there this 10 to 15 minutes max that it would take. because I can use my foldable crutches. At the big locations, they have lockers there, so I can just put my crutches during the ride there or give them to the cast members. This is fine. Because I am not neurodiverse. I just hate people, but this is not a thing that would register me just to go away of the crowd levels, because it's not a disability that I hate people. This is me being a journalist for way too long and know that people can be bad sometimes. But this will never ever grant me the access to the other level of the AAP. And I was like, you girls need the other level of the AAP. Your girls can't wait in this express pass line, especially in coasters like Velocicoaster. It is so ridiculously loud. Even I am taking on my headphones when I'm on my own, because to cancel out all the noises that are going on. And I can't imagine how bad it is for someone who is really autistic with all the noises going on. So, and this is something you need to communicate. This is not, first of all, it needs to be in the IBCCES report. But here was the thing I actually don't know. I don't know if Universal has access to the doctor's note. I don't think so, because someone told me it's against American law. So they only see if it's approved. So in case you are autistic or have children that are autistic, you really need to communicate it during your during your AAP interview. Because you can't assume that the cast member knows stuff like that. And for an example, if they asked you with autism the exact same question I got asked, can you stand in a conventional line? Why can't you stand in a conventional line? And you are saying, actually, physically I can, I don't have mobility issues. Then Universal will stay there and like, how can we help you? And to avoid those kind of question and confusion, make it clear in the beginning. And I would always say, talk to yourself before you phone your interview, and talk about and think about what you actually need from the AAP, because again, there are different classes of the AAP. They can give you different kinds of removing barriers. There are so many options, most people don't know. Again, I only have the one that you will have a return time that is the exact same amount of time as if you would have entered the normal line. And from that point on, you can enter whenever you want on that day, the attraction. At Disney, it's just, I think, 30 minutes. And if you're not entering the attraction in the 30 minutes, your DAS was gone. But at Universal, it's like you can come back whenever you want. And I think, especially if you have medicational need or stuff like that, or if you are autistic and maybe have at the moment sensory overload problem, this is the way better option. So you are not pressured that you are needed to go now to the attraction. I think it's a way better system than Disney saying you only have 30 minutes. If you're not entering the attraction, then it's done. So this is removing a lot of pressure. And again, this is my level of AAP, that I will wait the exact same amount of time, but I can just sit down in front of the fountains of the Helios, my favorite place, or buy a drink or snack, or maybe even watch a show during that time, and then return when my time is coming. And I also have on top of it notified that I can't climb stairs. So in attractions where you need to climb stairs for the boarding area, I am approved to use the lifts. Here was another thing. I wasn't approved for the lift situation the last time, but I used it anyway, because they even told me, I was like, hey, if an attraction has a walk-in, or I am deciding, maybe let's say Velocicoaster has only 20-minute waiting time, and I'm like, okay, I feel good at the moment, 20 minutes are fine, but I am still not able to climb the stairs. Am I theoretically allowed to use the lift when I'm coming from the conventional line. And they were looking at me, yeah, of course you are. Just ask the cast member and tell them you are on the AAP and no one will ever ask a question. So I don't think that this lift stage or lift notification on the AAP is something you need. And sometimes, if I have a good day, I am not using it and I'm climbing the stairs. When I'm going back in November, a friend from Boston will be with me. So maybe I will try to avoid the lifts completely when he is able just to help me up and down the stairs. I think up the stairs is always easier. If you have, so an example, a situation like Velocicoaster, I would maybe be able to climb up the stairs and go through the normal boarding process. And after the attraction, I'm like, hey, going downstairs is pretty tough. I want to use the lift. And this again is something, just communicate with the cast members and they will understand. And this is something I really realized at Universal, how well trained the cast members are when it comes to disability or to hidden disability. They are so understandable. I don't want to cry, but they really saved and made my vacation because they were so patient, they were so kind, and again, every time I rode Velocicoaster at the end of the trip, everyone working the attraction knows me because they know I am a Raptor girl. And most of the time, no, every time, they really ask me, hey, where do you want to sit? And it's so nice. I mean, I really prefer the last row at Velocicoaster, or a row where I can rest the foot in the seat in front of me. You have at every second row, I guess, those little small spaces where you can put your feet, so my foot is not dangling. It's nothing that could happen, but it's just a barrier in my mind. I feel just more safe when I can put my damaged foot on the floor. And so I always got my last row, and most of the time they cleared the complete row for me. And I'm like, no, it's completely fine. You can put a single rider or whoever next to me. I don't mind. I just want to have a good time on the coaster. I don't now need those kind of special treatment. I am so grateful that you are providing all the help. And especially at Velocicoaster, one of those guys always gave me a few free express passes. He was like, you are such a Raptor girl. Come back whenever you want. We are so happy to serve you. And I'm like, you are just, or if you want to go to Hagrid's, use them and just have a great day. I mean, it's crazy to think about because everything that was going on at Epic, every incident report and stuff like that, you know that something is not right when guest services are saying hello to you and remembering your name every time you enter a park. And that was happening every morning at Islands, that guest service say, hi, hope you have a good day. Hopefully we don't see each other for an incident report. And I was like, I also hope so. I like you, you're really nice, but I hope we don't interact today with each other. And the same at Epic. Those in Epic, especially after the first aid responder after the Mario Kart accident needed to roll me in the wheelchair to the buses. I most of the time had the same guest services staff because I always came in the afternoon and it was always their shift, and they always had a chat with me every time I entered Epic, and it was just so nice. And they are like, everything that had happened to you here at Epic, this is nothing that should happen to Universal. And we just want you to know that we are so sorry for everything. And I'm like, nothing that had happened here was your fault. Nothing was Universal's responsibility. Everything that had happened was the fault of other guests. So I am really glad and grateful that you are helping me. The only thing, after thinking about it and looking back at it, that I would change is the situation after the girl crushed my rib at Stardust Racer. Because the cast member, again, he saw it, the girl was running off. I was yelling at her and telling her, hey, you need to watch out for other people. You can't push people out of the way. You don't know their story. And I am not that fast. I can't jump out of the way. She was giving me a look as if I am crazy and continue running. So the cast member, his first intention was, the problem was he was alone on the station. If there were two cast members, the procedure would have been one would have been with me and the other would have just fetched and go for the goal. But he was like, no, I'm not going. You are needing help. Are you sure you're fine? I'm like, yeah. And he was like, okay, we are going to the front. You will ride Stardust Racer now in the front row and everything is fine. And then we really need to go to guest services and to first aid to check everything out. Because this is an insurance problem. If something is turning out to happen to you, Universal needs to know. And I'm like, it was after the Mario Kart incident, after the incident, I'm like, I really don't want to fill out another incident report. And he was like, I am so sorry, but you really have to. What happened here is a security issue. So he was bringing me back to guest services, and guest services was shocked about the situation, and they are like, do you want us to call security right now? We will find the girl and we will ban her at least for 1 year for this behavior. But it was not that late in the evening, but it was like, I am considering going back to Surfside and I am tired. And I was like, just to be honest, I just want to have a normal day. And thinking about it, calling security, finding out who this girl was, where she went, looking all of the security photos to see where she is, where she was, if it was really her and stuff like that. And then calling in security. And they were like, maybe we even need to call in the police to fill another report. And I'm like, I don't want to do it. And they respected it. Universal was like, okay, fine, we are not doing it. But you need to consider that this girl, if we are not catching her, didn't learn her lesson. She is going there and thinking you are the crazy one because you yelled at her. So it is your decision, but we really, really want to go after her. And if you are not giving us your permission, we will still do so, but we don't want to confront you and go through all of this emotional damage and trauma anyway. And they were completely understandable, but the only thing they were like, but hey, listen, this cast member saw how hard the impact was. You were barely able to breathe afterwards. There is no way you can say no to an X-ray in the hospital. And I'm like, okay, I will call my insurance company. Everything is fine. They were like, no. You don't need to call insurance company. Your company, Universal, because it was happening on Universal property. If something serious is happening or going on, this girl will definitely get sued. But something Universal figure out for you. And I'm like, I didn't have a choice. They again sent a first aid responder to me, and they have a hospital on Universal property nearby, and they were like, it's an easy thing. We call them, you go just in there and have an x-ray, and you are good to go back to the parks or to the hotel, what you want. And yeah, at least it was the good thing. News was it was only half broken. And I'm like, is it safe to fly? Is it safe to ride roller coasters? And they are like, yeah, it's completely fine. Nothing will happen. You can go Stardust Racer, whatever you want. Just make sure that the restraint is not constantly, directly going onto your whip. Let the cast member know that maybe you need to change your positions a few centimeters so it's not putting pressure directly on that place. And I'm like, okay, good thing. And yeah, they needed every incident report from the hospital. They needed every statement from the doctors and stuff like that. And I'm like, my personal file at Universal as a guest must be so ridiculous. It must be so ridiculously long. And again, they gave me free tickets just to compensate for it. And I'm like, you don't need to. It's not your fault. And they are like, we want to. At this point, we want you to have them. And I'm like, it's fine. And then again, I don't know what was going on that trip. I had problems on the way from the airport to Surfside with the Superstar shuttle. I don't know what was wrong. I guess it was my email address. I use skispringen.com. It's ski jumping in German because I'm a ski jumping journalist, and this is an email address I always have access. This is the reason why I'm using it. And the Superstar shuttle you can't set up without calling them when you're not booked directly with Universal. And I think the person I was talking to was just not understanding it, so I never received my confirmation. At the airport, it was hard for them to figure out. Everything was nice. And then at Surfside, I was like, we need to make 3, 4, 8 times sure that Superstar shuttle is set up. Everything went wrong. We can't find you, blah, blah, blah. At one point, I was like, you will find me. I am really fed up. Please. I paid for it. Here's my receipt. You can say it on my credit card bill. I paid for it. I did it on the one-way. And then they messed up the time because they thought, because I was going to Washington first, it was only a national flight. It was an international flight, so they need to reschedule the Superstar shuttle again. Messed it up. Again, haven't received a confirmation. Went to the Superstar shuttle center booking stage. I think it's a vacation planning stuff. Again, the next morning at Surfside. Again, they couldn't figure stuff out. And the day before, they were like, okay, now we are finally set up. This is the time Superstar shuttle is picking you up tomorrow. Time came, and guess what happened? Superstar shuttle, the bus didn't arrive. And it was always the same girl that was working at the vacation planning point. And I, at that point, because of everything that had happened over the last couple of days, I was ready to go home. And half an hour later, the Superstar shuttle still wasn't there. And I just started crying in the lobby of Surfside because I was tired, exhausted, and everything was wrong. And I was like, I just can't miss my flight now because of this freaking incident that is happening here. And yeah, the bus driver just forgot about me. They needed to send me on the next Superstar shuttle. This Superstar shuttle was delayed for half an hour. I still made it to the airport. But then there was another problem. Universal specifically requested the bus driver, because I had special assistants set up, as always at the airport, that the bus driver is calling United when I arrived. So United can send someone from special assistance, because again, I was flying to Washington, and a Superstar shuttle will drop you up at the floor level. So you needed to go through the entire terminal A and B to the United check-in. And with 2 suitcases, a backpack, and my rib crushed, there was just no way in me on doing it. But guess what the bus driver did? Throw out my suitcases and ran off. And guess what happens then? No one cared at the entire freaking airport. I called every employee for help. Every employee I saw. No one helped me. Not even the police. They were like, we are busy with something else, go away. There was the check-in, just walk there. So at the end, I literally crawled to the United check-in because the bus driver was not following the instruction of Universal. So this time, Universal told me, say to I will land at Terminal C. This is much easier. The special assistants will bring me directly to the Superstar shuttle thing. And Surfside knows when I am coming, and they will have bell service helping me with the suitcases as soon as I arrived. And for the return way, they are like, we will send a Universal cast member with you in the bus to make sure this is not going to happen again, and that he or she will help you with your suitcases. And yeah, I'm like, it's crazy that stuff like that needed to get put in place. And then another one, I saw a comment and I was like, I am just hating you. yeah, if you aren't able to do that on your own, you shouldn't travel alone. And I am like, we are only talking about bringing my suitcases from the Superstar shuttle to the check-in. This is the only thing I need help for. And because of my disability, now I'm not allowed to travel anymore. And then there was another thing. I mean, this was just out of interest. But again, I talked about it. I am not good in climbing stairs. And I'm like, your Superstar shuttle bus, do you have buses without stairs? And they were like, no. But most of the, this is the phrase I not like to hear, most of them will have a lift that can help you up the stairs. And I'm like, yeah, okay, most of them. Can I request one of those when I am arriving and when I'm going back? They said yes. I say, let's see as soon as we arrive. But again, this is something you need to understand. Those are not operated by Universal. They are operated by Mears Connect. The same is going for all the bus shuttles, the resort buses. They are not Universal. And this is the reason why this is so messed up, and bus drivers are doing whatever they want and don't care about customer service that much on that level that Universal does. For an example, I'm using this example a lot just to give you an idea how bad those bus drivers can be. I felt good at that day, and I was like, hey, I have such a great day. I don't need a midday break. I am going directly from City Walk to Epic. I don't stop at Surfside today. Just go there, maybe not spend the whole day, but I really want to go to Epic now. I told the cast member, hey, I'm not fast. Is this the Epic bus? And he was like, yeah, he will wait. No worries, go there, he will wait. Guess what happened? The cast member made sign language and showed him, hey, I will come, blah, blah, blah. The bus driver, yeah, nice, I will wait. Guess what had happened? I was walking in front to the bus to Epic, slowly because I am slow as F because of my disability. And as soon as I arrived in the front of those line thing, the bus, you can't believe it. The bus in front of my nose, he was waiting all the time as I was approaching him. In front of my nose, he closed the doors of the bus and off he went. The cast member from City Walk saw it, and he was in such a disbelief. And I was just like, you are such an idiot. Why? This would literally just took 3 more seconds for him to wait that I step into the bus. And he, in front of my nose, off he went. Even with communicating with the cast member before. And the cast member was like, wait here, I will call him. He needs to turn. I don't care, he needs to return. He is not going to Epic without you. And I'm like, I want to have a good day. I don't want to get stressed. I am sitting myself now here on this bench. You will have a look at the next Epic bus, and I just take the next one. Because the bus driver will be pissed if he needs to return and pick me up. And I just don't want to deal with a pissed bus driver. Because at that point, even some of those Mears Connect buses, the shuttle buses, don't even bother to sank down the bus when I am asking for. I'm like, hey, can you just reduce the height so I can just go down? I don't want to climb this huge of a step with my foot. Most of them don't listen at all. They don't care. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with this kind of bus driver now. I'm just waiting for the next one. And yeah, another example. From Epic to Surfside, it's quite a ride. I think 10 minutes or so. And with my foot, it's a safety problem. I can't stand on a moving bus with my foot. With the slightest distraction, I would fall over, could hurt myself, could fall on someone else. It's a safety hazard if I need to stand on a bus. It was quite late in the evening. There were a lot of people that wanted to go to Surfside, and I was going into the bus. Saw the bus was full. I know if I ask people, people will just ignore me. So I was going to the bus driver. I'm like, hey, I really need a place to sit down. Can you please help me? And he was like, wait for the next bus. You see, this bus is full. So or you can try it out. And I'm like, okay. Was going to the people that were sitting on the disabled, accessible, reserved seating areas. Completely fine, hidden disabilities. So I was like, do you have a disability? And they were like, no. I was like, I have a hidden disability. Can I please have the seat? Those are designated accessible seats. Can I please sit down? They were looking straight in my face and telling me, we had also a really exhausting day. And if you weren't that fat, you wouldn't have a disability. You will thank us later. You can stand. Thank you for nothing, idiots. So I really controlled myself into not crying at that moment because I was so shocked about that human behavior. So I left the bus because I'm like, I'm not boarding this bus. This is not going to happen. And then I couldn't control myself. I started crying, went to the cast member who was controlling the buses, explained my situation, and he was like, this is not happening. And I was like, yeah, that is exactly the situation that just happened to me. And he was like, the next Surfside bus, I will make sure you have a seat. I don't care how we will do it, but you will have a seat in the next bus. Okay, the next bus was completely empty. The problem is, as I mentioned before, at Epic in the bus loop, you don't have benches. It took the bus 15 minutes to arrive, and again, I already cried, and the pain was getting worse and worse and worse, and the cast member felt so sorry for me. And he was like, I'm so sorry for you, but to be honest, this kind of behavior happens sadly a lot with those buses, with the bus drivers and Mears Connect. And I was like, then Universal definitely needs consider changing the contract to another bus company or providing the service Universal in turn. Hiring the bus drivers directly with Universal or stuff like that. Buy the buses, I don't know, but this is not good. I mean, this is one of the advantages why I'm staying on property, the bus shuttles. The access to the theme parks within minutes, the access to have buses going every 10 to 15 minutes back to my hotel. And if this service is that screwed at the moment and people are behaving that crazy and not helping, bus drivers not helping disabled people, then this service needs to change. And again, Universal, I added it just to the next incident report I did, and they were like, you need to complain. Not only you, everyone you knows who had a bad experience with those buses needs to complain. So Universal realized, so the person at Universal that are doing decisions like that needs to realize that the bus situation really needs to change. And we considered how the buses are managed, especially superstar shuttles, because this is something normal people won't even realize, that those buses aren't universal. And having those experiences will make most guests hate Universal afterwards. And they will be like, Universal is not taking care, they don't control it, the bus services are rubbish, why staying on property? So it's really important to stand up and talk about stuff like that. And yeah, again, I shared so many accessibility stories today and talked nearly for 2.5 hours. I'm so sorry. Thank you for everyone who is watching again, and I will get on I will make live streams from now on every Friday and every Sunday. Hope I will catch some of you guys the next time. Have a nice conversation again. Talk about more about accessibility, and just want to say thank you for being such a great community, and I'm always happy and grateful if I can help you guys out. So if If you have any question regarding all the topics I am covering, just ask them. I am more than happy to help you out with them. So, thank you so much for the evening and have a nice Sunday, and I will see you on Friday.